The storm rolled across northern Oregon like a living creature, gnawing at street signs, twisting the rugged pine trees, and drumming against rooftops with relentless force. For the residents of Redwood Ridge, storms were familiar companions, almost like old friends. Yet on the night of November 19, 2017, the rain felt different, an unsettling warning that echoed in the hearts of the townsfolk. Miles Turner, a sturdy man of 32, stood at the edge of this mountain town, a Forest Service volunteer who knew the terrain of Redwood Ridge better than his own reflection. He often boasted that he could navigate the ridge with his eyes closed, a claim most people accepted with a nod and a smile. But tonight, as the winds howled and the sky cracked with lightning, he would have given anything to be somewhere else entirely. That night, a call shattered the silence of his living room, the clock on a wall glaring at him as it struck 9:46 p.m. His younger sister, Emily, was missing. At 26, Emily radiated warmth and cheer, a nursing student whose laughter could lift the heaviest of hearts. She had planned a short hike along a trail near the ridge, promising to be home by 6 p.m. But as the minutes turned to hours, the silence of her absence gnawed at Miles's gut. When her roommate's calls dissolved into voicemail, dread coiled tightly around his chest. Without a second thought, Miles snatched his gear and jumped into his truck, the storm's fury pounding down on the windshield as he sped toward the trailhead. He didn't care that the rain whipped at his windows and the wind howled like a mournful spirit. Something was wrong. Emily would never ignore a call, never stray too far, never hike alone. Arriving at the trailhead just after 10:30 p.m., the storm had transformed the world into a surreal blur of light and shadow. He spotted Emily's silver Toyota, parked crooked, a driver's door locked while the passenger door yawned open as if inviting him into the chaos. Inside, her backpack, water bottle, and beloved hoodie lay untouched, items she would never leave behind. But her phone was missing, and that realization sent a chill creeping down his spine. "Emily!" he shouted into the storm, but only the wind responded. Determined, he followed the trail, heart pounding in sync with the raindrops. Half a mile in, his heart plummeted at the sight of her flashlight lying in the mud, the beam flickering weakly against the relentless downpour. He recognized it instantly, the very one he had gifted her last Christmas. If she had dropped it, it wasn't by choice. He traced her footprints laced with the mud, but they soon grew erratic, as if she had been running or even dragged. And then, the prints disappeared entirely, swallowed by the earth. As dawn broke, the search for Emily had intensified. Police, volunteers, and canine teams scoured the entire trail, drones whirred overhead, while bloodhounds picked up a faint scent that led to a place the locals ominously called Hollow Point, a steep drop enveloped by dense trees. Searchers found nothing to suggest a struggle. It was as if she had been erased from existence. The only clue came from a trail camera a mile north, revealing a blurry figure resembling Emily, walking in the opposite direction of the trail. Her posture was unnerving, head tilted, hands limp, as if she were a rag doll caught in a tempest's embrace. Behind her, deeper in the trees, another shape lingered, shrouded in mystery. Time-stamped 7:12 p.m., right when the storm unleashed its fury. Police suggested she had become disoriented and wandered off. But Miles couldn't shake the feeling that something more sinister had woven itself into the fabric of that night. Emily was no stranger to those trails. She had hiked them since childhood. No, something had happened before that footage was captured. Days turned into a suffocating silence as the search stretched into a week. Tips filtered in, each one a thread of hope that unraveled into nothing. Then, on the 6th day, it was Miles's restless spirit that uncovered what others had missed. Alone, he trekked up a moss-covered ridge to an old fire lookout tower, its decaying frames standing as a testament to forgotten stories. The door creaked open, revealing a dust-laden interior, but one spot was eerily clean, a set of small footprints leading to the corner. And there, a small object lay, a cracked phone, nearly dead, awaiting to reveal its secrets. As he powered it on, a shaky video flickered to life, capturing Emily's fearful whispers. "Someone's following me, I." The frame swung violently, revealing a tall figure in a raincoat, standing ominously behind her, illuminated by a quick flash of lightning before the video cut out. The police theorized it was merely another hiker or a hunter, but Miles' instincts screamed that something far more insidious lurked in the shadows of Redwood Ridge. The stories of the Watcher, an unsettling local legend, whispered through the town. Tales of a silent figure seen in storms, vanishing upon approach. As the weeks melted away, the case turned cold. But Miles refused to relent. He retraced every lead, diving deep into the folklore surrounding the Watcher. One night in February, he returned to the fire lookout, a flicker of hope igniting in his chest. But what he found was chilling. A fresh carving on the wooden railing. "I saw you." That night, police increased surveillance around the ridge, but weeks passed in eerie stillness, until March 6th, 2:14 a.m., when a trail camera captured a tall silhouette at the tree line, hood pulled low, body rigid, staring into the lens for 4 agonizing minutes. A lightning flash illuminated the figure, pulling it closer into view before the camera glitched and went black. When rangers investigated hours later, the ground lay undisturbed, void of any footprints or signs of intrusion. The only clue was a small piece of paper taped to the camera, scrawled with a haunting message, "She is not alone." The media frenzy erupted, weaving tales of cults and vagrants living among the trees, while others turned their suspicions toward Miles himself. But he knew Emily had not fled. She was not alone that night. Yet how could he prove it? As summer faded into autumn, the case slipped from public memory, leaving Redwood Ridge wrapped in a shroud of silence and fear. Each November 19th, Miles returned to Hollow Point, standing vigil for hours, hoping for an echo of her voice, a whisper of hope in the chilling wind. Every year, without fail, he felt it, a presence in the trees, watching, waiting, unmoving. But this past year, something changed. Miles found a silver stud earring resting on the hood of his truck, Emily's. Panic surged through him. Whoever had left it had been close. Too close. He reported the discovery, prompting the police to reopen the case, yet once again, nothing emerged. The forests were too vast, the trails too winding, the rain from that storm washing away every trace of Emily. Still, something lingered in the ridge, in the cave, in the woods, in the storm. Something that had seen Emily. Something that had taken her. As time rolled on, locals swore they heard a woman's voice echoing from deep within Hollow Point, soft, trembling, calling out for help. Others claimed to have glimpsed a tall figure at the ridgeline, frozen in place as the wind howled. Redwood Ridge was never just a forest. It was a watcher, a keeper of secrets. On stormy nights, the people whispered Emily's name, for her story wasn't over, not yet. Deep in the dark heart of the forest, someone was listening, waiting for the next storm, the next hiker, the next soul to wander too close. In the small, isolated town of Maplewood, the air was thick with an unspoken anxiety that weighed heavily on every resident's shoulders. For months, Courtney had been a ghost, her disappearance echoing through the streets like a mournful refrain. The investigators, led by Detective Hale, were relentless in their pursuit of the truth, retracing every step she had taken. They pored over receipts, analyzed phone pings, and tracked every mile she had driven, reconstructing her last days as if piecing together a delicate jigsaw puzzle. Yet despite their efforts, the final picture remained elusive, shrouded in silence that felt increasingly oppressive. Detective Hale, a stoic man with sharp, observant eyes, had spent years in the field, but this case gnawed at him. He could sense the townspeople's reluctance to engage, their smiles faltering as he approached. Each time he asked a question, he noticed the subtle flinches, a glance away a tightening of shoulders, a whisper when certain names surfaced. What haunted him most was the unshakable feeling that beneath the veneer of normalcy, people were hiding secrets, memories they dared not reveal. As days turned into weeks, the tension simmered, and the town's silence became a specter that loomed larger. Then, just when hope seemed to dwindle, a ray of unexpected light pierced through the gloom. A retired truck driver, a fixture in the diner where the locals gathered, ambled into the police station with a weathered dashcam card in his calloused hands. He recalled driving the winding ridge roads at night, often forgetting to turn off the camera. It was a careless mistake that would soon prove pivotal. With a mixture of skepticism and anticipation, Detective Hale and his team gathered around the monitor as the footage was loaded. The room fell into a tense hush, heartbeats echoing louder than the grainy sounds of the recording. At precisely 2:47 a.m., the screen flickered to life, revealing Courtney's car parked on the shoulder, just as it had been found. But the real shock came moments later, when another vehicle crept into view, a dark SUV, its cracked left headlight glinting ominously in the night. A tall figure emerged from the vehicle, striding purposefully toward Courtney's car. Hale's breath hitched as he watched the figure lean inside, as if conversing with her. Time seemed to freeze, the weight of the moment pressing down like a suffocating blanket. Then, with a fleeting turn, the figure momentarily caught the light, revealing just enough detail for Hale's gut to twist in recognition. This wasn't a random passerby. Someone had been watching, someone who understood the rhythm of her life, who had shadowed her from a distance. The room held its breath, the atmosphere thickening with dread as Hale paused the video, his voice barely above a whisper. "I've seen that headlight before." In that chilling moment, the town's quiet fear solidified into a palpable dread, the weight of unspoken truths threatening to shatter the fragile facade of innocence that had long cloaked Maplewood. The investigation was no longer just about finding Courtney. It was about uncovering the darkness that lurked within the very heart of the community. As Hale steeled himself for the storm ahead, he realized that the puzzle pieces were not just scattered. They were hidden, buried beneath layers of fear and reluctance, waiting for the light of truth to penetrate the shadows.